Alright, well hello, I'm Jog, and welcome to the bonus episode of Episode 3. This time we're going over the library and, well, essentially reading everything it has to say, so starting off with... The History of Fodlan, Part 1. Under the tyranny of ruthless disorder, the people endured a long period of suffering. The vile nemesis, who proclaimed himself the King of Liberation, delighted in war and bloodshed. Rather than rebelling against his persecution, the people of Fodlan fell to his depths in a mad scramble to obtain power through murder and theft. 41 years before the founding of the Adrestian Empire, Saint Ceros appeared in the land of Emblem, and though the many unfathomable miracles she performed spread light across the land, in doing so, she joined the shattered hearts of the purest people of Fodlan, who went on to form the Holy Church of Ceros. Imperial Year 1. The founding of the Adrestian Empire. In the first year of our calendar, the glorious Adrestian Empire was founded. Its name was gifted by an oracle, and its future blessed by the goddess. Its capital, Emblem, was chosen to govern the southern reaches of Fodlan, where the divine Saint Ceros also lent her power. Imperial Year 32, the War of Heroes. Wilhelm Paul Hesfig, the inaugural Adrestian Emperor, raised an army in pursuit of the unification of Fodlan. There. With his might, he hunted and destroyed any house territory that dared to seek more power. Imperial Year 46, the Battle of Grondir. An intense battle erupted on Grondir Field, where the houses that were allied with Nemesis and the Imperial force of the Adranian Empire clashed. There, the Imperial forces emerged victorious. Imperial Year 91, the Battle of Tateline. The houses that were aligned with Nemesis once again faced off against the Imperial forces, this time the Tateline Plains. There, the evil Nemesis finally fell, and the Empire secured a monumentous victory. Year 98, the War of Heroes ends. The successor to the Empire, William I, Lycaon I, succumbed to sudden illness. The Empire, which ruled over the majority of Fodlan, took this opportunity to put an end to the seemingly endless fighting. The History of Fodlan, Part 2. Imperial Year 721, the First Mock War. The Dagon army invaded from across the sea. Though the Imperial forces resisted the attack and drove off the enemy, the land of Mach sustained considerable damage. Imperial Year 728, the Invasion of Brigid. The Empire invaded the Brigid Archipelago, a land occupied by allies of Dagda. As penance for their refusal to surrender, the people of Brigid were relegated to a life of imperial subjugation. Imperial Year 731, the Invasion of Dagda. With the boon of a strong foothold in Brigid, the Empire mounted a large-scale invasion of Dagda. However, the fortunes of war were not on their side, and their attack failed. Imperial Year 747, the Fargus Rebellion. Lug, a descendant of one of the houses that first quarreled with the Empire, raised an army to demand independence, pulling the land of Fargus into a fierce rebellion. The clash came to be known as the War of Eagle and Lion. Imperial Year 751, the founding of the Holy Knights of Fargus. Lug and his resistant army were victorious over the Imperial forces. The Holy Church of Ceros mediated between the two, and Fargus secured its hard-won independence as the Holy Kingdom of Fargus. Imperial Year 801, the Leicester Rebellion. A rebellion broke out in the Imperial lands of Leicester, which the Imperial army was unable to suppress. The Holy Kingdom viewed the uprising as an opportunity to increase its own political sways, occupying the Leicester region, formerly declared as a territory of Fargus. Imperial Year 861, the Fargus divided. Following the death of King Klaus I, 3 princes became Archduke and split the Holy Kingdom of Forgus. There, they ruled over as 3 separate territories. Actually makes me think of our actual history. At least for Europe, I can't think of the actual one. I don't want to say the Holy Roman Empire, but something like that. It was one guy passed down to his son, who then had 3 kids, so that when he died, the empire got split up to 3. And yeah, I think one eventually became like France and like left, well, west of Germany. The other one had like east of Germany all the way over to like Poland, and the third one eventually got pretty much Italy, pretty much up to the mountains. Imperial Year 881, the Crescent Moon War. The Archduke ruling over the Leicester region of the kingdom succumbed to illness. The lords of the Leicester lands refused to acknowledge the next Archduke in line, instead plotting to rule jointly as an alliance. Imperial Year 901, the founding of the Leicester Alliance. The Leicester Alliance was originally formed after the subjugation of hostile nobles and the removal of all opposing forces in the region of Forgus. An influential figure from the outset, Duke Regan was arguably the heart of the newly formed alliance. Imperial Year 961, the Elmiran invasion. The great eastern nation of Elmira crossed through Fodlan's throat and invaded Alliance territory. The Empire dispatched troops in order to hope to conquer this threat, and the attackers were just barely driven off. Imperial Year 1101, the construction of Fodlan's Locket. To defend against future Elmiran invasions, the Alliance, the Kingdom, and the Empire joined their forces and resources to construct the indomitable fortress known as Fodlan's Locket. It would seem like there's not as much we can actually read right now, which probably means all this is going to be opened up to us later on. Ugh. Register of Knights of Kingdom Nobles. A register of prominent house nobles, the Holy Kingdom of Forgus. This document is expressly for official use by the Church of Seiros. Students are forbidden from to remove or pursue this document. 1179 edition. House Beelid. This house claims Beelid of the 10 elites as its ancestor. It has ruled the kingdom for over 400 years, ever since Lug, the King of Lions, claimed victory in the War of Eagles and Lions in 751. This secured the kingdom's independence from the Adressian Empire, after which Lug was crowned as an inaugural king by the Church of Seiros. House Beelid resided in Forgus, the kingdom capital, claimed all the surrounding territories as its domain, and many of the fiefdoms of the North Fodlands as its vassals. With the passing of King Lambert in 1176, his older brother, Grand Duke Rufus of Ishta, assumed the burden of ruling the kingdom in his young crowned prince's stead. Even still, strife and disorder continued to plague the land. House Phaedrus. The House Dukes claims Phaedrus and the 10 elite ancestors. It is one of the most ancient houses on record. Even among kingdom nobilities, it is said that Kifan, the sworn friend of Lug, the King of Lions, was also related to the hero Phaedrus. House Gastor. This house of Mergraves claims Gloucester as the 10 elites of the ancestor. As its ancestor. Its territory lies in the northernmost reaches of the kingdom. As such, it has safeguarded kingdom territory against incursions by people of the Srig region for over 200 years. House Sharon. This house of counts claims Chiron, I'm going to say Chiron, even though it's probably not Chiron, of the 10 elites as its ancestor. Tasked with negotiations between the resistance armies of the Church of Seiros during the War of the Eagle and Lion, the head of House Chiron continues the tradition of a ceremonial competition within the kingdom. House Glatier. The House of Dafan, once a cornerstone of the Leicester Alliance, was divided in two over an inheritance feud. Half of them defected to to Fergus and established House Gattier, which has granted the noble title of Count. Much of its territory consists of a frigid wasteland where a severe famine occurred in the year 1170. House Rowe, a noble house that once held territory in the Northern Empire, when the fortress city of Enchold was constructed within its domain, it revolted against the Empire and pledged the entirety of its territory, including Erdenhold, to the Holy Kingdom of Fergus. For this contribution, it was awarded a noble title of Count. House Clemaine. This house originally held no more than a lordship over a single castle in the west of the kingdom, but it was awarded the noble title of Viscount for its great success in the subjugation of the Duskor region in 1176. Afterwards, it was granted the Duskor region as its feudal estate. Register of Alliance Nobles. The register of prominent nobles in the House of the Leicester Alliance. This document is for express below. We've read all this before. This is the 1179th edition. House Regan, the leading house of the Leicester Alliance and descendant of one of the 10 elites. In the Crescent Moon War of 881, they spearheaded the move toward independence from the kingdom, as well as established a republic by its former vassals. They have held the esteemed responsibility of leading the Alliance Round Table ever since. The position of this House of Dukes relies on the noble ranks bestowed upon it by the kingdom, well before Alliance foundings. The current Duke Regan's heir, Godfrey, died in an accident while on duty. While he did leave behind a surviving daughter, she is presently unaccounted for. Aww. House Goneril, descendants of the 10 elites. It is a military house that is chiefly tasked with military strikes and defense against the Elmiran army, mostly due to its territory position in the east. Lord Host, the next head of the house, is widely renowned as the Alliance's bravest general. House Ordelia, this House of Counts was land in the east of the Leicester Empire in the year 1167. It was involved in a House Hurm's rebellion, and the Empire retaliated by repeatedly meddling in the house's internal affairs, leading to a sharp decline in its noble standing. House Gloucester, descendant of the 10 elites, this House of Counts hails from the southern Leicester territory. The current head of the house is ambitious, excels in pursuits, in public relations, and has an influential voice among the 5 noble families, with voting rights at the Leicester Alliance Roundtable, second only to House Regan. House Edmund, a house of Margraves, was the land in the north of the Leicester territory. Its beneficial trade policies emphasizes fair use of its personal harbors. Fair use of its personal harbors have awarded the house a great deal of clout, to such a degree that it was eventually accepted into the ranks of the 5 great lords of the Alliance. Their current head of the house is a renowned author? I've never seen that word before. House Daphnel, descendant of the 10 elites and formerly among the 5 great lords of the Alliance, it lost much power due to internal discord. For the last several generations, no head of the House of Daphnel has borne a crest. In spite of this, it still maintains its status as a noble family. Registration of Empire Nobles, Part 2. This registration, part of the Adressian Empire. Is this Part 1? Yes, let's go with Part 1 first. Registration of the Nobles of the Adressian Empire. This document is the official Church of Saros, the 1179th edition. House Hustleg, the most distinguishable noble house of the Empire, tracing its roots all the way back to the great Emperor Wilhelm. It has been the governing house of the Empire for 1,100 years. In addition to the first emperor of its lineage, it is also traced back to Saint Saros herself, which is why generations of emperors are believed to bear the crest of Saros. House Helsfeg resides in Embar, the imperial capital, claiming all of the surrounding territories as its domain. It boasted supreme authority both within the Empire and within the insurrection of the Seven. In 1171, in which most of the power was stripped away by the nobility, in recent years a series of misfortunes has plagued this storied house, and some believe dark clouds hover over the future of the Helsvig region. House Aegir, a house of dukes possessing great power within the Empire, second only to House Helsvig. The head of the house comes to occupy the post of Prime Minister, rendering the title a hierarchy one thereafter. House Aegir led the insurrection of the Seven and in many ways holds the true power governing the Empire. House Vestra, a house of Marquise without a domain, existing in the shadow of House Helsvig, in addition to maintaining a darker task of the Empire. It is responsible for the Emperor's periphery affairs, including coordinating things such as ceremonies and rituals. I cannot read. Imperial consorts and the Imperial Guard. House Vestra was allied with House Aegir in the insurrection. House Helsvig, or Herving, a house of counts that has inherited rule over the Empire's domestic affairs, particularly those relating to administration, finance, and judiciary. It frequently clashes with the Minister of Militial Affairs over these matters. Most of its territory lies on the Ogma Mountains, and as such, it enjoys the fruits of lucrative mining industry. House Burglig, a house of counts. A house of courts. A house of counts that has inherited rule of the Emperor's Ministry of Military Affairs and commands all of the armies that do not directly belong to the Emperor. During times of war, the head of the house becomes the Imperial Army's commander-in-chief. Their territory encompasses most of the Empire's main breadbasket, the Gondir Fields. Gondor. Where was Gondor? House Varley, a house of counts that has inherited rule of the Empire's Ministry of Religion, whose main responsibility is to maintain admirable relations with the Church of Saros. However, due to the establishment of the Church from the Empire in recent years, estrangement of the Church and the Empire in the recent years, it has become more involved with the judiciary, that's how you say that word, causing political strife within the Ministry of the Interior. Yeah, same thing. House Greether, a house of dukes that has inherited rule of the Empire's Ministry of the Exterior. Diplomacy, foreign relations, and relations between various provinces and the capital fall under its purview. It worked hard to secure the ceasefire that ended both Brigid and Dagger's campaign. Though conflict in the insurrection, it remains distant from the associated houses. House Arundel, formerly a minor house of the Empire, as head of the house when Vulcan's younger sister became betrothed to Emperor Ioannis IX. Volkard was granted the title of Lord Anctrel. Having worked closely with House Aegir, House Andril is seen as one of the chief investigators in the insurrection of the Seven. House Hirim, a house of imperial viscounts, resisting Emperor Ioannis IX's policy of power concentration, it set out to join the alliance and secure independence from the Empire, but was unable to overcome the Imperial Army's intervention. In the aftermath, the house's main genetic line was wiped out. Its current head of the house is an adoptee. Makes sense. House Norvell, a house of imperial viscounts for the territory of the western coast of the Empire. Centered around the namesake harbor city of Nouvelle, the house flourishes thanks to commerce with Dagda, Albane, Brigid, and other territories. Even still, it fell to ruin in 1175 after permitting the combined invasion forces of the Dagger and Brigid armies to make landfall. House Uchst, a house of imperial barons. Its territory occupies the northern half of the western peninsula known as Fulden's Fangs. The head of the house was lost to the Dagger and Brigid War. And lastly, House Bartels. The House of Imperial Barons, highly ambitious, it sought out and acquired several crests for its bloodline. In the year 1176, many members, including the head of the house, died under unexplained circumstances. The deed was attributed to their heir, Emil or Emily? I'm gonna say Emil. Yeah, Emil. As its whereabouts are unknown, leadership of the house fell to a distant relative.
Well...
Book of Saros, Part 5. Nope.
What the...
You don't have to be Part 1, do you? You do. Okay, Book of Saros, Part 1. The Revelation. The goddess is of all things. She is heaven above the land below. She is eternity incarnate. She is the present, the past, and the future. Her eyes see all, her ears hear all, her hands receive all. She, who has graced the holy world of the divine goddess, who bore witness to the magnificence, is the one called Saros. She is the messenger of the heavens, the bridge between lands above and below, and her blessings shall bring tidings of peace to all. With the goddess' omnipotence, the wisdom guided her. Saros ensured that her will be done. As the goddess' sword, Saros wards away evil. As the goddess' child, Saros makes emperors immortals. As the goddess' wings, Saros elevates her people. As the goddess' voice, Saros spreads the words of love. That sublime sword is entrusted to you. The emperors are crowned before you. The rings clear your path. The voice whispers words of trust. May the blessing of the goddess follow you always. The Book of Saros, Part 2. The Creation. In the beginning, amidst the great cloudless ocean, Fulden came to be. At the end of a long journey, the goddess glimpsed to that land, and there aligned upon that sacred ground, she breathed life into the world and created all of creation upon it. By the goddess's hand, plants took root, birds took to the skies, and animals roamed the land. Last of all, she created humanity. Where the humans wished for power, she granted it. She gifted them the blessing of heavens and of the earth. By the way of magical arts, humanity attained great power, yet unaware the great power portends great evil. By the grace of the goddess's divine protection, humanity thrived. Through her blessings, they grew prosperous, and their numbers rose. Before long, they became the most powerful creatures of all Fodlan. All was well until darkness descended from the north. A darkness that devoured the earth, desecrated the heavens, and threw the world and its inhabitants into a state of chaos. To face this evil, the goddess created a new well of power. She gifted certain chosen individuals with sacred blood among them to wield mystical weapons. That they may prevail against the darkness. Those souls, buoyed by their divine gifts, conquered the evil ones and drove them back to the north. There they became known as heroes. The heroes experienced unnaturally long lives, persisting for hundreds of years. Even after they breathed their last, the power coursing through their blood remained, leaving the indelible mark upon this world. This power passed through bloodlines came to be known as crests, the mystical weapons that they once wielded, known as the heroes' relics, or so the legend of a new age was born. The descendants of the heroes sought their ancestors' power, and thusly their blood. In time, they amassed crest, relics, land, wealth, using all to set land aflame with war. The goddess's power, intended to stem the flow of evil, became tools of destruction, all because of the greed of humanity. The goddess, grieved and heartbroken, hid herself in the heavens from whence she came.
Hey there.
The Book of Saros, Part 5. The 5 Eternal Commandments. Dare not doubt or deny the power of the existence of the goddess. Dare not speak of the goddess's name in vain. Dare not disrespect your father, mother, or any who serve the goddess. Dare not abuse the power gifted to you by the goddess. Dare not kill, harm, lie, or steal, unless such an act are committed by the will of the goddess. The goddess cares for all and protects all that is beautiful in this world. The goddess will never deny the splendors of love, affection, joy, peace, faith, kindness, temperance, modesty, or patience. Follow her example, and, in doing so, abide her laws.
That's so.
Traveler's Journal, Issue 1. A record consisting largely of the world outside of Fodlan. The author's identity is unknown, but they have clearly experienced these places firsthand. Elmira, a great kingdom to the east of Fodlan. Its territory borders that of the Lesser Alliance, with the treacherous mountain range known as Fodlan's Throat acting as a dividing line. Its people maintain a strong legacy of horsemanship and relish in the thrill of battle. This vast kingdom is rich in fertile prairies, deserts, and mountain ranges. Albier, the continent to the northwest of Fodlan. Its frigid climate is home to numerous rare and valuable species of flora and fauna. However, the human population there is extremely small due to intense cold and the frozen earth, which is unsuitable for growing grain or other food crops. Morphus. Morphus, the name of the metropolis of magic to the southeast of Fodlan, as well as the boundless desert that surrounds it. In the distant past, it was called the City of Illusions. Thanks to its intricate web of trade routes, rumors of its profound and mysterious magic continues to spread. Dagda, a continent to the southwest of Fodlan. Due to its extreme distance from Fodlan, rumor of this relatively unknown world abound. Some claim it is a tropical rainforest, which others insist is merely a giant frozen plateau. In truth, this vast continent stretches far from the north and south, and surpasses a wide variety of terrains and climates. The Traveler's Journal, Issue 2. Well, the fall outside of Fodlan, outside is unknown, but yes. Frigid, the archipelago nested between Fodlan and Dagda, is the land of plenty that is often heralded as the perfect union of the gentle sea and nature's bounty. Both Fodlan and Dagda have long vied to claim the territory as their own. Sreg, or Sreng, was once the name of an enormous peninsula to the north of Fodlan. Today, only the northern half has kept the moniker, while the southern half now falls under the domination of the Holy Kingdom of Fergus. Several warlike clans claim this great wasteland as their home. Certain areas of this region are comprised of rocky desert. Duskar, a peninsula to the north of Fodlan and the west of Streg. The people who once inhabited this area were decimated, and it now falls under the domination of the Holy Kingdom of Fergus. The land boasts nothing noteworthy to make it a desirable travel destination, but rumors of valuable minerals waiting to be unearthed abound. The Agma Mountains, an enormous mountain range somewhere south of central Fodlan to the west. It forms a border between the Empire and the Kingdom, surrounded Garrick Mark, and cutting across Emperor territory. It is home to many animals and plants that cannot be found elsewhere, as well as a plethora of valuable mineral deposits. And that would be the end for this bonus episode, at least for now, unless... I'm assuming more bucks should be open to us later on, but for right now, that is all we can do right now in the library. So, thank you for watching, and have yourself a good one. I'm also afraid that upstairs is going to become available as well. That's going to be a lot of reading. Bye-bye.